chronometer is a multi-function instrument that does a lot more than just tell you the time. It displays UTC and local time, and you can toggle between them using the button on the bottom left. It has a stopwatch which you can start and stop and reset at any point. It also has an automatic flight timer. So you can see here that we're in flight according to the instrument. The text for the flight timer is shown in light blue. And it's determined that we're in flight because our speed, which is shown as 64 knots on the top left-hand side here, is higher than our flight trigger speed. So our flight trigger speed is 55 knots currently. If we set that to a higher value, let's say 66 knots, you can see here, because we're traveling at 65 knots, the flight timer has stopped incrementing. When we transition past 66 knots, the flight timer will flash yellow to indicate that we've transitioned to in-flight, and the flight timer will start. Let me just demonstrate that by bringing it down to 64. There you go. So we're traveling at 65, 66, and the flight timer is now incrementing. You can, by the way, change the speed units. So they're currently set to knots. If you wanted to show speeds in miles per hour, you could do so. So we've got ground speed of 76 miles an hour. And in the settings, we've got the flight trigger speeds as in miles per hour as well. Let's change this back to knots. Good. We've also got a fuel totalizer. So this interestingly uses two settings in the that are set up in the instrument settings. One is fuel on board, and one is burn rate per hour. Both of these are unitless, so you can enter whatever numbers you want here. So let's enter 50. It could be 50 gallons, it could be 50 litres. So we enter 50 here, and that's typically what we do when we top off our tanks. And the instrument now shows the green arc here as a full 100% tanks are full. That's the value that we filled it to at our last top up. You can see top right here, we've got fuel on board showing us 50. And we are in flight. So you can see it just incrementing or decrementing to 49.9 then, because what's happening is that the instrument is using the burn rate, which is currently set to, apologies, wrong button, currently set to 8 units per hour. And you can see it decrementing here. So as we fly, the fuel on board will reduce based upon the burn rate. So if we, to demonstrate this, if we reduce our tanks to 16 units and show this here, so we've got 16 units on board and we've got 100% full. If we then change our burn rate to, let's call it, let's call it 16. Oops. There we go. So we've got 16 units on board. Our burn rate is 16. What it's showing you now is that we have less than an hour's fuel remaining. So you can see the arc is now showing as yellow. The fuel on board indication is pulsating on the right hand side to show you that you have less than an hour's fuel remaining. And you can actually see, if you look carefully, you can actually see the arc reducing on a second-by-second basis, because obviously the burn rate and fuel on board means that the arc is decrementing faster than normal. If we take this to the extreme here and reduce our fuel on board to 8, head back, what we've got now is a red arc. So what it's showing now is that we have less than 30 minutes of fuel on board. So less than 1 hour, it will show as amber. Less than 30 minutes on board will show in red. And the pulsation on the top right is slightly more in your face when you've got less than half an hour's fuel remaining. That's pretty much it. Hope you've enjoyed that. That's the chronometer instrument. Thank you very much.